Okay, then let us continue from where we stopped yesterday. So, regarding the index notation, now you understand what is a free index, what is a dummy index, and how do you define a vector and tensor. So, let me define two tensors first. Okay.
First,
Yeah.
one question.
Yeah.
So the dummy index always comes in pair now. Means where it comes in always pair.
Yeah. So if suppose one index is a dummy index, okay. Suppose I or j or anything else. Okay. If it is a dummy index, that index has to appear twice or as a pair. Okay. So in that expression, one of the terms in that equation. Okay. And if it is just one index, suppose I is appearing only once in that term, okay, in any term in that expression, then it is a free index. So if there is a free index, that free index has to appear every term in that equation. Okay, so that is very crucial. Okay, so I said that yesterday. So if you any transformation when you are going from xi to xi prime. So suppose you are going from xi to xi prime. Okay. So in the case of three-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system, these x are actually x1, x2, x3, or x, y, z. Usually, that is the way you have been familiar. Okay. So now the coordinate transformation can be represented by a rotation matrix R. Okay. Suppose there is a coordinate rotation. That rotation can be represented. So we are now talking about a three-dimensional Euclidean space. In that Euclidean space, the rotation can be represented using a matrix R. And this matrix R, so we can actually any general rotation you can actually write down, that we'll be doing later. But already you know, suppose in xy plane, suppose rotation is in xy plane with an angle alpha. What is that rotation matrix?
Minus
This is cos alpha, right? Cos alpha. This is sin alpha. Then
minus sin alpha.
No, so it's a 3 by 3 matrix. So this will be 0. Then this is minus sin alpha. Then cos alpha.
Cos alpha.
0, 0, 0, 1. Okay. So we basically talk about the rotation as rotation about a plane. You can also think about this rotation about the axis z with an angle. Okay. So this is basically I am talking about R. Okay, the rotation matrix for a rotation about a xy plane. Okay, rotation in the xy plane with an angle alpha. So similarly, you can write down a general matrix R for any angle of rotation. That's not because any plane. Okay, so you can do that. Need not be xy or yz or xz plane. So that we can write down later, but to have an understanding. So xi goes to xi prime. So basically xi prime, I can write it as Rij xj. So when I write down this equation, what is Rij? Rij is basically a tensor of rank 2, right? It is a tensor of rank 2. So you can see in the left hand side, there is one index I. Yes or no? Which is a free index. So I is a free index here. So left hand side that I is there, right hand side also there is an I. J, is it a free index or dummy index?
Free index.
How? In this expression, how many times J is appearing?
2 times.
2 times. So J is a dummy index here. Okay.
Sir,
yeah.
But you have said when dummy index came, it will also came there, means JJ or II. So it is
No,
not
no,
the
that's what I
ideally-
said. So I only said that the dummy index, if it's a dummy index, any index is a dummy index, that appears twice in a term. So the term here is, this is the one term. Okay. So this term contains J twice. So it need not be here itself. Okay. So in that expression, okay, so this is an expression. This expression you can write it as a xi prime minus rij xj equal to 0. So you can see that each term in that expression, j is here j is twice. Okay, it's a summed over, right? So if it's a summed over, it's a dummy index. So if it's a dummy index, it need not to appear in any other term. But if it is a free index, it has to appear in each and every term. So this is the difference. So I is here, this term I is there, and this here there is an I. Okay. So what does it mean? If there is a dummy index j, what does it mean? That means that there is a summation over that j. So if a index is a dummy index according to the summation convention, okay, and there is a, it implies that. So basically this is basically this one summation I in three dimension, summation j 1 to 3 rij xj. Okay, so this is actually the expression. So if you expand this, what is this equal to? R1 to R11 x1 plus R12 x2 plus R13 x3, right? This is the expansion of this term. So this is basically how do you get, okay, as a matrix multiplication, I have x1 prime, x2 prime, x3 prime, which is equal to R11, R12, R13, R21, R22, R23, R31, R32, R33, x1, x2, x3. So you can see that x1 prime is equal to R11 x1 plus R12 x2 plus R13 x3. So that this whole matrix multiplication and transforming to new coordinate system is just written down as this equation. So this is basically, I have to clearly mention I is running from 1 to 3. So this is for I is equal to 1, 2, 3. So there are three equations here for each I. And each equation is, so first x1 prime is, so this is I, okay, so whatever, so nobody asked me why did I get 1 here. It's not there, it should be I. Okay, so Ri1 x1 plus Ri2 x2 plus Ri3 x3. If I put I is equal to 1, I get R11 x1 plus R12 x2 plus R13 x3. And I is equal to 2, I get the next thing. Okay, so now this matrix, in the case of a rotation about a two-dimensional plane in the XY plane, you know that this term goes to, so this one is cos alpha, this one is sin alpha, this is minus sin alpha, this is cos alpha, and these four terms are 0, and this term is 1. So that already you know. The general thing we'll learn later on. So if there is a dummy index, the next important thing is, suppose there is a j dummy index, there is a summation already there. Even if I don't write down this, it is understood that this actually meaning there is a summation over j, whichever dimension you are talking about. So I'll write only this. Okay. So now onwards, if there is a dummy index, that means there is a summation over that index, and that summation I will not write explicitly. This is basically the index notation summation convention. So there is a summation here. We are actually not ignoring because so j is there. So we don't want to write that explicitly. It is understood now because we know that j is a dummy index. Okay. So suppose there are two indices. So vector is, you know that vector you can denote using a one index. So when I say Vi, it is actually represents a vector. It's not a one component. Means I is equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay. So for I is equal to 1, 2, 3, I have V1, V2, V3. So if I have V1, V2, V3, that actually a vector. So yeah.
Excuse me, sir. So if a vector has a means in a four dimension, so I can be 1, 2, 3, 4. We can
Yeah,
take
so whichever dimension you are talking about. So I have to write down I is equal to 1, 2, up to whatever dimension you are talking about. Okay.
Okay.
So this n can, so you have to write down that. Okay, for I is equal to 1 to n. So this n can be even infinity. Okay, so there is no problem. So Tij, I have to write down. So now for time being, let us talk about three dimensions. So I and j runs from 1 to 3. So that is now, at least for the today's class, we are now discussing only three dimensional case. Okay. So I is 1 to 3 and j is 1 to 3. So this is a tensor of rank 2 and it is having how many components? Tij? 9 components will be there. So there will be 9 components. Suppose ijk, it will be 27 components. Okay? Okay, that is a rank 3. Now, how does that transform? So, because you know that the vector transforms like this, xi prime is equal to rij xj. So, Tij is basically r I k r j l then t k l. Now you tell me whether our index notation is correct here. So how many free indices are there in this equation? But I is equal to j equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay. So how many free indices are there in this equation? 2. What are they? I and j. How many dummy indices are there in this equation? K and L. And how many summations are there? 2. So there is actually two summations here. One summation over K 1 to 3 and another summation over L 1 to 3. So there are two summations here. Okay. So this is the way a tensor transforms. So it is not the exact way our coordinate system transforms. You see, there is a you have to multiply two R matrices. Okay. So then only you get this. Okay. So regarding covariant vector, quantavariant vector, or covariant tensor, quantavariant tensor, those things I will actually teach at the end of this course. Okay. So now I just want to, yeah.
Can you explain how this equation came?
So see, that's what I see. A tensor transforms like this. So if it is a tensor, okay, suppose T is a tensor and R is the coordinate transformation matrix and that tensor transform, okay, Tij prime, sorry, okay, Tij prime. So the tensor transforms like this. It is not. So a tensor is defined like this. Second order tensor, you can actually take this as a definition, where R is the coordinate transformation matrix. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So similarly, I can say A I prime, okay, which is this is a vector, okay. Vector A is ith component, which is basically equal to Rij Aj. So a vector A transforms like this, where R is the rotation matrix corresponding, okay, corresponding to that rotation, okay, into whatever dimension you are talking about, okay. So now this is the way a vector transforms. The same way, or exactly the same way, the coordinate transform. So if any quantity is going like this, we actually say that that vector, that is a vector. If any quantity is going like this, okay, then we say that that is a tensor. So rank, second rank. So now you can tell me third rank tensor with this knowledge, how does that transform?
Tij is equal to R L I R K J R N K then T S element.
See, the rule is very simple. Rule is this, okay? So I can have any order, okay? So T prime, I, J, K, whatever. So up to N, okay? So which is equal to, first you write R, so depends on how many are there, okay? So that many R's should be there. So first you take this first index, you put that in. Then write now you have to write a dummy index, right? So then you put the t. So t transforms to t prime. So there should be a summation over one dummy index. You can see there is a summation over this index. There is a summation over this index. So you have to put some index here. So let us not use ijk. So you can put p. Okay. So you put t. Okay. Now take another r. J, you put this J there. Okay. So I actually don't need the comma there. Okay. So R, J. Now I have to put another dummy index. You put Q. So then you put Q here. Now you take another R with the K. Then you put R. Then you put R. Then up to whatever, how many, suppose it is a capital N private tensor, so there are n R should be there. Then you last one, this is n, you put n here. Then one dummy index, you put that is S, P, P, Q, R. Then I am putting S. Okay. So any rank tensor you can write down this. So this is very simple. So whatever the index coming here, that you put it as a 1. So you can see I, J, K, M over this appearing only once in the right hand side. And whatever else in the right hand side should be a dummy index. P twice, Q twice, R twice, and S twice. Okay. Okay, so now you understood the matrix, this index notation. So you already know the matrix multiplication, right? You know the matrix multiplication. So now you tell me, I have matrix A and B. If you multiply that, suppose you can multiply those matrices and they are square matrices, suppose. Then C is equal to AB. Suppose I have this. Okay? They are matrices. Now, I want, because how many C's should be there? Means how many, that matrix, means C is 1 and that matrix, how many elements will be there? Yeah?
So the number of rows of A times plus the number of columns of B.
For example, let us take this A and B are, okay, 2 by 2 matrix. How many C's should be there?
C might be also 2 by 2.
C also 2 by 2 matrix. So there will be 4 components. Now I want to write down ith component of that C. Okay, ith component of that C. What will be that equal to?
Sir, ijth component or ith component? Sir,
Sure.
matrix has I.
Obviously, yeah, you are correct. Okay, so it is a, so matrix is basically, usual our matrix is a what kind of tensor? Say rank 2. So it should be ij. So what is the Cij component of the matrix C? How can you write down? You already know, because if I have a matrix, okay, it's not matter. Okay, I can this, and the B matrix is this one. You know how to multiply and find out each component of C. But I just want to write down, okay, ijth component of that C. If I know the ijth component of A and ijth component of B.
So A I L times B L J.
A, I, N,
And B and J.
B, N, J.
Yes.
So this is, so is, how many free indices? 2, right? So I and J are free. How many dummy indices? 1.
One.
That is N is the dummy index. So this means there is a summation here, right? There is a summation over N. Suppose it is 3 dimension. So summation over N from 1 to 3. Okay. So what will you get? C11 component. C11 component will be equal to A11, B11 plus A12, B21 plus A13, B31. That is the matrix multiplication components, right? Okay, whoever did not understand that, so you just take a matrix and find out each of this ij component of 3 by 3. Just take a 3 by 3 matrix and you just multiply it. Okay, you know that each component how to multiply and get the C matrix. Okay, now you just substitute in this and see whether that is same. Okay. Okay. Now, so I said there is an R matrix which represents a rotation. Now I will actually give you some more idea where R is basically an orthogonal matrix. So what do you mean by an orthogonal matrix?
Multiplication with the transpose is equal to 1.
Yeah, R transpose equal to identity matrix. Okay. So R transpose is equal to R transpose R is equal to identity if R is a finite dimensional matrix. Okay. So that is what basically orthogonal matrix means. R transpose equal to identity. Okay. So before getting into why it is an orthogonal, let me, you already defined. So you know what is a Kronecker delta? I already discussed one of the earlier class. So delta ij, which is equal to 1 if I is equal to j, 0 otherwise.
Yes.
So this is what kind of tensor? Rank 2. Okay, it's a second rank tensor. So it is also called an isotropic tensor. Why it is an isotropic tensor? Because under coordinate transformation, the components of this tensor does not change. Okay, that means delta 11 will be 1 in the new 11 prime will be 1 even, and delta, suppose delta 11 is 1. Now you make a coordinate transformation to delta ij prime. So each component will be same. So that is what you mean by isotropic. Under coordinate transformation, the component of the tensor does not change. Then that is an isotropic tensor.
Sir?
Yeah.
So how we can say that it's a tensor because not changing under coordinate transformation? It should change.
No. It's not that. See, it's not that it does not change it. So it actually delta ij prime is equal to rik rjn delta ij. It transforms like this. There is a transformation, but the value of the components you are getting after the transformation will be same as what you are getting in the old one. Okay, it transforms according to this rule. Okay, is it correct? I have written.
Delta KL.
See,
It should be KL.
it should be K. So I think please go through this. Okay, when I am saying it. Okay, so K and L are dummy. I and J are free. So this is wrong what I have written the right. Okay, so it transforms like this. So it is a tensor of rank 4. But the thing is, the component, the old and new frame, the coordinate system, the component will be the same value. So that is okay. Okay.
Yeah. Is that element sigma identity matrix?
Which one?
Like
So that's what you can actually write down in the 3 by 3. It is actually as an identity matrix. Delta I is basically like an identity matrix. Okay. So fine. So let me talk about another tensor, that is Levi-Civita tensor. So you may have came across this earlier, epsilon ijk. Okay, it's a third rank tensor, which is equal to +1 for even permutation of of 1, 2, 3. Are you able to see even permutation of 1, 2, 3? -1 for odd permutation of 1, 2, 3. 0 otherwise. Okay. So what does it mean? Epsilon 1, 1, 1. What will be this equal to?
0.
It will be 0. Epsilon 1, 2, 3 is equal to
1.
1. So epsilon 2, 1, 3 will be equal to minus 1. So now you know that. Okay. So epsilon, so you can understand all these values. Okay. Because it's very important. Levi-Civita tensor. We will learn about that tensor more a little later. Now, see, if you take a point, vector R, okay, so I can represent that x, x1, x2, x3 in one of the coordinate system. Then I make a coordinate transformation, so I get R prime. Okay, so R goes to R prime. So the question is, what will be this equal to? Xi prime, xi prime. What will be this equal to? What should be this equal to? Xi. Because this is basically the length of that vector. Right? So this does not change under coordinate transformation. So before that, I just want to tell you, suppose I have a vector A and vector B. What is the dot product of this vector? So we are talking about the dot product in 3 dimensions. Okay, we are talking about dot product in 3 dimensions. So what is the dot product of these two vectors? Explicitly write down A11.
A11. A1, B1.
It's a vector. So A1, B1 plus A2, B2 plus A3, B3. Can I write down? So this is basically A dot B. Can I now write down this as a using index notation and summation convention? But AI, BI. So A dot B is basically AI, BI, or I can write down this also as AI, BJ, delta, IJ. Yes? AI, BJ, delta, IJ. Okay?
One delta T.
So let us write down what, see, when I write down AI, BJ, delta, IJ. So basically, what explicitly, so there is I and J are IJ. Okay. So I and J are dummy index here, right? They are dummy indices.
Yes.
I appearance twice j. So there is a summation over I and there is a summation over j. Now we are just looking at the 3 dimension. So what is this basically equal to? A1. How many terms will be there?
There will be 9 terms.
There will be 9 terms or 3
Yeah,
terms.
9, but A3 will be non-zero.
So there will be 9 terms. So because instead of writing 9 terms, I will actually give an example with a smaller one. So we will come back to this A dot B later on. So let me just write down A I J B J. So this one, how many terms are there?
So 9, 3, 3.
3 terms. Okay. So now I will write down this delta. I just want to have a delta I B. Okay, so let us look at this. How many terms are there in this?
3.
3 terms. 3 terms, right? What is the answer for
Yes.
this? What is this equal to? What is this equal to? There are 3 terms.
B1,
B?
B1, 1.
No.
B1 plus B2 plus B3.
B?
Plus B1 plus B2 plus B3.
No.
B I delta I1, then the B I delta I2, and then the
No.
B I delta
Yeah.
I3.
You are actually BJ. Okay, somebody said BJ. The answer is correct. This is actually equal to BJ. All of you understood it?
Yes, sir.
If anybody did not
Yes,
understand this, I will explain.
Yes, right.
Okay, so let us write down this explicitly because it's very crucial. Okay, so from here I am actually giving you some tricks to do. So it is very crucial how you got this. Okay, so explicitly let us write down this summation j. There is a summation over j, right? Or I. It's a summation over I. 1 to 3 b1 delta 1 j plus b2 delta 1 2j plus b3 delta 3j. This is clear to everybody, right? That is equal to that. This quantity equal to this quantity. Let us derive it. Any confusion on this? There is no actually summation because I explicitly write down. Okay, so this basically means there is a summation over I is equal to 1 to 3 bi delta ij. So this one I expanded in this. Fine?
So,
Yeah, so what is the answer for this? I have b1 delta 1j plus b2 delta 2j plus b3 delta 3j. What is the answer for that? You cannot give me the answer. Why? I should give you what is the j value. Right?
yes, sir.
If I give you j is equal to 1, what is the answer?
B1.
J is, if it is j is equal to 2, what is the answer? If j is equal to 3, what is the answer? So, whatever is the j, that is the answer. Right? So,
Yes, sir.
this is bj. Okay? This is bj. So whenever we write a free index, we have to specifically mention what is that free index is. So here j can be 1, 2 or 3. So if j is equal to 1, it is b1. If j is equal to 2, b2. So answer is bj. So the rule is very simple. Okay, please listen carefully. Suppose there is an expression. In that expression, there is a delta, chronicle delta, okay, and chronicle delta is having one index, at least one index, okay, at least one index, which is actually summed over, or that index is a dummy index. So you can see that in the delta ij here, I is a dummy index, which is basically summed over. Okay, so if you have an expression and which contains a delta function, chronicle delta, okay, and one of the index of the chronicle delta is summed over, then the rule is very simple. What you can do is you can remove that summation, you can remove that delta and replace with the other index, okay, of that delta wherever, because it is a dummy, right? I is a dummy, because I should be appearing somewhere else. Replace that I with the other index j. Okay, so that I is appearing here, so this is Vj. Rule clear? If there is then in an expression there is a chronicle delta and one of the index is summed over, the answer is very simple. You remove that chronicle delta and that summation corresponding to the summation. That means that particular index is going away from the answer. Okay, so the I index now disappear. What you will do? You should do wherever that I appears, because it's a dummy. It may be appearing some other place. Okay, you replace that I with the other index of that delta. So you get it. So that's all you have to do here. Okay, so AI, Bj, delta Ij. Okay, so J is summed over. I is also summed over. So at least one. So I can either remove the I or I can remove the J. I can do one of them. So suppose I remove I. What will be the answer? I remove delta, right? I remove delta. I am now looking at only the value I, the index I. So wherever I is there, I replace with the second index. So J I am replacing. I replacing with the J. So it is Ej. You can do the other one also. Like this, J is also summed over here. Okay. So I can remove delta. Wherever J is appearing, I can use the second other index. So this is also equal to Bi. But we know that, right? Because Aj, Bj is same as Ai, Bi. Why? It's a dummy index. I can replace that J with any other index. Okay. If other index is not appearing as a free index in the equation. So that is the way this Ai, Bj, delta, or you go home and explicitly write down all the expressions. You see Ai, Bj, delta, Ij will be Ai, Bi. Okay. Okay, so now we have been discussing about A dot B, which is, I can write it as Ai, Bi, which is also same as Ai, Bj, delta, Ij. Now we are going to the where we actually stopped earlier, that is R going to R prime. Okay, so here what is going to happen? So you know that xi should be equal to xi prime. Now I can write down this is equal to xi. Okay, it's the same line I will write down. This I can write down as xi xj delta ij. Yes, xi is same as xi xj delta ij. Because when I is equal to j, only this term exists, right? So obviously it will be xi xj xi. Okay, or xj xj. No problem. But you know that what is xi prime in terms of xi? What is xi prime in terms of xi?
Prime is R and
R
R
I R I K. Okay.
XK.
What is this xi prime in terms of? So I want to write this also. What should I write now?
R,
This one I have written RIKSK. So what is xi prime? This xi prime equal to?
anything we can do, no?
You tell me.
For Rij and Xj we can do.
You can do because the right hand side we already used j. Let us not use because no issue for using, but let's use some other index. Okay.
L we can use L.
RIL xi.
XL.
Now let me ask you a question. I can use j, no issue. This equal to Rijxj, no problem. But can I write instead of RILXL, RIKXK? Can I write that?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
That is what very important. I should not write. Okay. The second one is RIKSK. I can write any other index in the world. Okay, because you already used an A index here, which is already summed over. Okay. So because if you use K, the K will be appearing 4 times. That is wrong. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
K is already used. So you can use any other index other than K. Even I can use J, no problem. Okay. But K you should not use. Now you see I is appearing twice. That is a sum over I is there. K is appearing twice. There is summation over K. Then L is appearing twice. There is a summation over L. So how many summations are there in this? There are 3 summations. So is it a number or vector or tensor? This quantity. Yeah.
Number.
It is a number because you see there is no, see, if there is a 1 free index, this is a vector. If there is a 2 free indexes, then that is a tensor of factor. But there is no free index, everything is summed up. So this is a number. Obviously, xi prime, this is basically s1 square plus s2 square prime square s3 prime square. This is square of those 3 coordinates. That should be a number. It should not be a vector. Okay. So that is the reason. So you understand now how important those conventions are. Okay. So now you got this. Now what will you do? So let me come back to here. Okay. So this one I am writing here. So I write RIK. Okay. Before that, let me ask you something. There is an RIJ. What is the transpose? So Rij is basically a matrix. See, if you just closely look at this element, but I can actually write down this is actually represents a second rank tensor. So what is the transpose of this equal to? R.
RJ.
So basically, this is same as I cannot write this as a transpose. It's actually component. So basically, this is same as R transpose Ji. So a matrix ijth element or second rank tensor ijth element will be same as that matrix transpose jth element. Fine? No confusion here, right? So this is Rik. So next one I write this RIL, I write it as R transpose Li. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Then SK XL. Fine. So can I write down this in the left hand side and this in the right hand side?
Yes, sir.
Can I take this one left hand side and this one right hand side?
Yes, sir.
So remember that these are all just some numbers. That's why important I have written that because here this transpose does not mean anything. Why? This is a number. Number transpose does not mean anything. So this is that R matrix ijth component, then R transpose matrix jth component. Okay. So these are all just numbers. So I can put it wherever I want. It won't change the answer. So this is equal to R transpose Ik. Okay. No. R transpose Li RIK, SK, SL. What is R transpose Li into RIK? What is that equal to?
R, so it will be R L K.
R transpose into RLK. The
Yes.
multiplication of the matrix R transpose with R is LKth component is this one. Okay. So this is same as R transpose R LK, then SK SL. But you look at this one, Xi Xj delta Ij. Okay. So can I write down? This is not required. Can I write down this as Sk XL delta Kl? Can I write down? This is equal to this one. Can I write down that way?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because I is a dummy, J is a dummy. I can replace with anything else. Okay? SKSL delta K. Now you compare this expression with this expression. You compare equation 2 with 1. What do you understand?
Sir, that R transpose R and K is equivalent to delta K.
R transpose R should be a I. Right? So R transpose R LK should be equal to delta K. That basically means R transpose R is equal to I. That is. Okay. So this implies that the R is an orthogonal transformation. So the coordinate transformation you are talking about is an orthogonal transformation. Okay, that's very important. So what will be determinant of R? What is determinant of R?
So 1 by determinant of R transpose.
What is, see, R transpose R is I. What is the determinant of R? One is partially correct.
So minus 1 is 1.
Minus 1 is also partially correct. So it is plus or minus 1. Because determinant of A into B here, right? So determinant of R transpose is same as determinant of R. Is it correct or not?
Yes, sir.
So determinant of R score is equal to 1. So determinant of R will be equal to plus or minus 1. So the determinant of that orthogonal matrix is plus or minus 1. Okay. So it is, that is why it is this R form a group we will talk about later on. So it is a special orthogonal group. That the transformation is special means the determinant plus 1 transformation and orthogonal in 3 dimensions. So say SO3 group. Okay, if the determinant is 1, so this coordinate rotation actually. So now plus 1 corresponds to proper rotation, minus 1 corresponds to improper rotation. So all the proper rotations belongs to SO3. Okay, so that's the way you tell whether it is a proper or improper rotation. Okay, for a proper rotation, yeah.
O is order A.
Pardon me?
The O in SO3 is order 3.
No, this 3 means 3 dimension. Okay, this O means orthogonal. Okay, this S means special, means the determinant of that orthogonal matrix is plus 1. So for proper rotation belongs to the SO3 group. So what is a group property and all we'll learn later on. Okay. So right now you just I'm giving you a glimpse of that. Okay. So the yeah.
Sir, how we get the matrix determinant of R equals to 1? I'm not getting that.
Okay. So what is determinant of A into B?
A determinant, B determinant.
Is it determinant A into determinant B? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So R is what is determinant of R transpose is same as determinant of R?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So determinant of R into determinant of R. So what is the determinant of the right hand side? Identity matrix.
1.
So determinant of R and R transpose will be determinant of R whole square. So determinant of R whole square is +1. So what are the rules?
So +1 or -1.
Plus or minus 1. So +1 corresponds to a
Yeah.
proper rotation and -1 corresponds to improper rotation. So based on that, now we can define what is a vector and a pseudo vector, or vector and a pseudo tensor, or scalar and a pseudo scalar. Okay. So those things we will learn in the next class tomorrow. Okay. So any questions from today's class? Okay, if there's no other question, I'll stop here now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.